Hey everybody, Tim Norris here, or you could call me GreyElephant.
I'm Carmen Norris.
And welcome to episode 8.
8, the symmetrical episode.
The symmetrical episode. Hey, I may not be my usual perky self. I fell at the park when I was playing with the kids.
He doesn't know his age.
I don't. I'm the fastest kid at the park, guys. I really am. And the only thing that apparently can catch me is the ground. And I was chasing one of the kids, and you know, I shouldn't be running up and down the slides anyways. I mean, everybody yells at their kids for running up and down the slides, and yet here I am doing that. And I was running down the slide, and I stepped off the edge, and I fell right on my ribs, and I swear to God, I think I cracked them. They hurt like mad. So anyway, I'm not going to be my usual perky self in episode 8, the symmetrical episode 2.
Yeah.
It's like the anniversary of our whole thing.
I
know. So, last week's episode was thematic games.
And speaking of being perky, we did 2 takes. And I swear I talked more in the first take, and, you know, somebody on Board Game Geek mentioned that I was struggling to get a word in edgewise, but that wasn't Tim, it was me. I was getting really tired at that point.
Oh, you're talking about last episode.
Last episode,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, I could sit here for 30 minutes straight talking by myself. Trust me. It's not a problem.
But I think I was starting to zone out and not really, you know, talking as quickly as I should have.
I think,
you know?
I don't think people know you well enough a lot of times that they don't realize that Carmen is the reader. She's the quiet. I will sit in the corner and read all day if given the chance.
Yes.
And I'm the yeller, I guess, you know. I'm talk.
And
She's reading and I'm talking.
And game night, you know, I will sit there quietly and take my turn and play the game, but I'm not the chatter, you know.
And I'm chattering and, you know.
And I'm like, shut up, I'm trying to think.
No, I haven't had to edit any of that out of any of our videos. Never, not once. So last week was our thematic game episode, and it was interesting getting some of the feedback back that everybody seems to really have, like I said, a varying opinion on what constitutes theme in a game. You know, I've had my opinion, you had yours, and we've got other people as well.
Right.
Now, we also got some feedback from some of you. So, once again, you're some Johnny-come-latelys. And so I thought we'll read those off real quick before we get into this week's episode, which is
our favorite 2-player games.
That's right.
Or games to play with just the 2 of us.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be a game designed for 2 players only, but games that we enjoy.
Games that we enjoy the most when it's just the 2 of us.
Just the 2 of us. Alright, so last week thematic games, Stacy Winter said Battlestar Galactica, Mage Wars, Android Netrunner, Middle-earth Quest, Agricola, and Freedom, the Underground Railroad. I really want to play Freedom, the Underground Railroad. Haven't played that one yet. And
Stasia Doster says Dead of Winter, Robinson Crusoe, and Arkham Horror.
Pete Shirley, who is a fabulous kisser, by the way, said Fortune and Glory, Defenders of the Realm, Zombicide, Thunder Alley, and Legendary all versions.
Okay, and then Brock Orman says Pathfinder Adventure Card Game.
And last but not least, Writer Guy 911 said Eldritch Horror, Marvel Legendary, Run, Fight, or Die, which is really fun. I like that one a lot. So you guys have a bunch of your favorite 2-player games, so we'll get to those right after we're done telling you about ours here. So
our favorite 2-player game.
Let's just start with this one right here, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Let's just now, like I said, some of these may not necessarily be designed specifically for 2-player, and but yet they play very well, if not better 2-player than they play. For instance,
in our opinion.
Yeah, this one plays a maximum of 5 players. Marvel Legendary. I do not like it when we play 5-player.
5-player, you end up waiting forever to take your turn, and in the meantime, you're getting pounded.
Yeah, and you're having to discard cards or take wounds, and it's like, oh, geez, okay, so now I guess it's my turn, I'll take a Maria Hill. It's a lot better as a 2-player. I would say even a 3-player. 4 players pushing it, and 5 players definitely out the window. I just don't recommend it. But this, we really, really, really enjoy this with just the 2 of us.
Yeah, I mean, I really like it 2-player when we're competing or when we're cooperating. And the thing is, when I play with more than 2 players, I'm sitting there thinking, man, when's it going to be my turn? You know, I get so used to it being my turn immediately.
You know what's interesting?
Get spoiled.
Well, we are spoiled. That's the one thing about 2-player games a lot of times, or games that, you know, like Legendary, for instance, is that I don't like waiting for my turn forever. You know?
Well, the game overall will be shorter, and then there'll be a lot less downtime if you're playing only 2 players.
Well, so. You're talking, you're encompassing all board games.
All board games.
And I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I can't stand sitting there for 20 minutes waiting for... especially when you're playing, it just never ceases to amaze me. You always get stuck with at least 1 AP player when you're playing with a maximum, like 5 players. You're always going to get 1 AP player that will drag it down, and then it's just like, ah. All right, next one on our list is Carcassonne Hunters and Gatherers. Yes, this is our kitty cat one. Now, we've played the other Carcassonne, but we don't like the other Carcassonnes. We like the Hunters and Gatherers.
Oh, well, I wouldn't say we don't like them. But
not
we like
as
this
much.
one better. So if we're gonna play Carcassonne,
that's my point.
We're gonna play this one.
Yeah, this one's cool. This was one. We actually played the Hunters and Gatherers before we played the original Carcassonne. So I thought, well, okay, well, why don't we get the original? And you know, I mean, obviously the original the better, right? No, we played it a few times. Thought, nope, sold it off. We want Hunters and Gatherers. We like our cats.
We like playing 2-player because, you know, you get more of an opportunity, I think, to finish out what you started when there's less players that are going to block you off.
We're funny about this game, though, too, aren't we? Because it really seems like... this game's like a puzzle that you're both really kind of working on.
We kind of cooperate together, so...
Oh, this looks pretty there.
Look at that.
You know, and it's like, as we're building the map, we're putting these tiles down, and it's like, well, this really doesn't help me, but boy, that piece looks so nice right there, and it really it completes the scene. I mean,
that's why we prefer to play Carcassonne Hunters and Gatherers with just the 2 of us.
Because everybody else screws it up.
We like making it pretty.
Next one on our list, we just did do a video on this. Yeah. And so it might shock you. This is designed for 3 to 4 players, but I really don't like it as much with just 3 players because the board's not full enough. So I like it with either 2-player or 4-player.
Because when you play with 2-player, you're still using all of the ships.
Yeah. When you're playing with 4-player, obviously all the ships are on.
Right.
Now, there is an official 2-player variant that is listed over on Board Game Geek that the designer posted up. They should have put that in the rulebook. They really should have. Because it's fun. It really, really is fun, and I highly recommend it as a 2-player game. And it's not that much more confusing to keep track of. It's really not.
It's not at all. No, you have a little bit more of a decision to make, but you know, that's pretty much it.
What's interesting is that the designer's 2-player variant, I believe, has you use 2 sets of the development cards versus just 1 set. We use just 1 set, which makes the game go a little faster. And it's a little less to keep track of. With 2 sets of development cards, it could be a bit difficult to keep track of all those powers. You know what I'm saying?
We just played the cards like it was, you know, 1 set of cards for each of us.
Right.
And then we just had more ships.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of fun. I highly recommend this one as just a 2-player game. Shockingly enough, I don't know why they didn't include a variant into it because it works just fine. And I love the game.
Speaking of games with 2-player variants, the next one has a very good 2-player variant in the rulebook. I wish more games would do this because this one's brilliant. It works perfectly.
Yeah, we love Belfort. And this is once again a game that can play up to 5. That is an absolute miserable experience if you play up to 5.
It's just, it's a really long game.
It is a really long game. Especially, once again, if you're playing with someone with AP.
It's still a good game with 5,
yeah,
it's just long.
It's just not as good in my opinion. The 2-player game works very well, and what ends up happening, because if you're not familiar with how Belfort works, is that there's like pie, you know, a puzzle that goes together that creates the board, and it's like pie shapes, okay? Each one of those is considered a district, and each one of them are exactly the same as the next one.
So they all have the same buildings.
They're symmetrical, aren't they? Yes.
Oh, it's symmetrical.
Yeah,
Yay.
yes, this is a symmetrical episode. And what you're trying to do is vie for majority in each one of them districts. So when you're playing with just 2 players, yeah, I mean, obviously it'd be just too much of an open game. You're not going to have any problems. So what they do is that at the end of each round is that you flip over random cards, and they'll have like certain areas.
It'll be a certain building.
And you're able to place in any one of the districts in an open, in one of those buildings as long as it's open. And so what you're trying to do then is you're trying to, like if your opponent has, say, like 2 buildings in one space, well, you want to build in there, so, you know, the MP to try to build that district up so they get less points. Because you get more points if you have majority.
So you take turns putting the MP player on the board, and it just really works perfectly for area control.
Yeah, it's a game, oddly enough. I mean, it doesn't seem like it, but I highly recommend it for just 2 players. It plays just as well, and it's just as enjoyable. And it's just one of those, like I said, there's no downtime, really. Because playing with 5 players, there's too much downtime. 2 players, it's fast, and it's a quick game. You will play in under an hour, in my opinion, as long as, you know, you got other partners, not a pro AP. Well, let's go to there. Let's go to there first. Yeah,
okay.
This is probably one of my favorite 2-player games.
Star Realms.
Yeah. Now this is designed specifically for just 2 players.
Yeah. And
but it is probably, it's hard to say it's the best deck builder on the market, but I would say that
It's unique. It's simple, you know. Before we got this one, we played a lot of Lord of the Rings deck builder just because it's fast and simple. And this one's even faster and simpler to set up, to break down, you know.
In my opinion, it killed the Lord of the Ring deck builder because
I think
the DC deck builder, Lord of the Ring deck builder, they're the same. This one's killed both of them.
We really don't play it anymore.
No.
But it's an old favorite, so I just can't bear to get rid of it yet.
Yeah, but this one, to me, it does what them games did. Easy setup, easy breakdown, but yet it just was much more compelling. And much, you know, in the DC and the Lord of the Ring deck builder, it's like after you play them X amount of times, they became redundant, and that's just what they were. This one here, it doesn't ever feel that way, you know? And I like the fact you're not working off of a VP system.
Right.
You're working on the system of, I'm going to crush you and destroy you.
That's what I really like about Star Realms, is that you don't have to, you know, what am I thinking? Calculate your score at the end.
Right.
You don't have to sort through cards and calculate your score. You know, well, I'm destroyed. I'm out of the game, so I guess you won.
It's pretty obvious who won. Yeah, this is...
As soon as you're done playing, you know who won.
For a 2-player deck builder, this is the #1 that I would recommend, even over the Marvel Legendary, believe it or not. Now, do I think it's the best deck builder? Not necessarily, but I would say for 2-player, yep, it certainly is. It fills that void, so... now the next one here, yeah, let's go to that one.
And next is another card game.
I don't know if enough of you guys know about this, but Morel's, this is, what is it, 2 Lantern? Yeah, 2 Lantern Games. This is a fantastic game for 2 players. It's a set collecting game, and the gist is that you're out collecting mushrooms. And what you're trying to do is get sets of the mushrooms, and then you're trying to cook them up and get points for them.
Yeah, but it's a set collecting game. It's not too simple, though. I mean, if it was, we wouldn't play it.
No.
So you have to have baskets in order to put your mushrooms in, which constitutes how big your hand can be. So you've got decisions to make, of course.
Yeah, and the trick is, and the fun part of the game, is the conveyor belt of mushrooms that'll go down the center of the board. Because that's kind of like... I think the way that they describe it, because it's been a while since we've actually played this, and it's so funny because we talk about 2-player games, and it's one of the first ones I thought of too. I believe it's like that they're expiring, basically. It's like they're getting old.
They go bad.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. Mushrooms getting old, right, and expired. And so they just basically go off the end of the board, and the new ones will keep coming out. And the trick is that you're trying to cook them up, and you can add like vinegar to the cooked, butter to it, and fry them up and get extra
Makes
points.
Them tastier.
And it just is a lot of fun. I highly recommend this one as a 2-player game.
But you have walking sticks in order to get further down the conveyor belt to get the cards you want.
Because it's been a while since I've played, but if I remember correctly, you can take either the first or the second card for free. But if you want to go further down the line, you have to turn in your little walking sticks.
Right.
And that can let you go, you know, 1 walking stick, then you can collect a third or whatnot, if I remember correctly. But the game's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. Really cool game.
Yeah.
So, all right, next one on our list. Yeah, let's do that one. Now this one's going to be a bit of a shocker. I'll be honest with you.
It's another one that's not designed for two players. 2 players is nowhere in the rule book.
No, but her and I sat down just like with the Black Fleet, and we said, hey, what if we both controlled 2 heroes?
Yes.
There you go, Lost Legends. This one is, I would say, if you're going to play Lost Legends normal by just having only 1 hero, this game could really be a bad experience.
That's why it's in the show, because we actually prefer playing this one with just the 2 of us.
I only really like playing it with just the 2 of us, to be honest. I don't really care to play if I'm just controlling 1 hero. Yeah. And the reason is because this game can have... what can happen is you could really just be out early in the first round, and you're done for the game. You won't catch up.
There is absolutely no catch-up mechanism. And so even if you're not the person having the problem... You know that one of your friends at the table is miserable for the entire experience. Somebody
most likely is going to be knocked out early. Somebody will be there just to be there for the next 2 rounds.
I almost guarantee you that one of the players of the game is going to be miserable.
And it is. It's a fault of the game. It really is. But when we play just 2-player, we each control 2 heroes, and it pretty well guarantees one of your heroes is going to do very well, and the other one will probably just be there just to kind of maybe feed the other hero good cards, or possibly just to try to hinder the other player.
I don't purposely throw one of my heroes under the bus. He says he does, but I don't. I try to make both of them win.
And there's probably a reason why I usually win. But, there you have it.
I love the theme. I love the fact that you're building up your hero to fight monsters. It's like you're going into a video game.
And it's like, the stronger, the next round, the stronger they get, but the stronger you are. And it's got a cool draft system, just like 7 Wonders, where it's like you select a card, that's either armor, a spell, a weapon, or an item, and then you pass the rest of the cards over to the next player, or in the case you're actually passing the way we play from one character to the next. So I could actually be like, okay, well, this guy works well with this kind of weapon, so I'm not going to buy that one, so I'll take this one instead, deliberately passing it over. But she says she don't. I don't know why you don't.
Well, I do that sometimes. I just don't purposely make one weak.
So now you're lying. All right, last one because it rounds out episode 8. Yes, Agricola. It is the all creatures big and small. This is designed for 2 players, and it does it very well. It takes everything that's fun of Agricola and puts it into the 2-player game.
Makes it mini size.
Yeah, fun size. Now, the beauty of this one is that it's all about just really the animals versus doing anything with the vegetables. Let's face it. Nobody wants to deal with the vegetables, nor are you worried about feeding or anything like that.
Well, I don't know. Every once in a while, I like playing the original Agricola, even with just the 2 of us.
I don't think so. I think this killed. I think it fired the original Agricola.
He just likes to stack the cows.
I was not the one who took the picture. If you go on Board Game Geek, you can find her picture of her. Those are horses, by the way, that you stacked. She actually had one of the highest thumbed videos of pictures of last year with her little stacking horses.
Stacked horses.
Yeah, it was fun. Now, there's a couple of expansions out on this one. I don't recommend them. I really don't. I think you're going to be fine just with the base set alone, because I found, and I don't know, we haven't really talked about this beforehand, but I find that the expansions just add too many buildings in it, and it's almost, I don't know, drowns out the fun.
It's like, the thing about Agricola All Creatures Big and Small is that it's simpler than the regular Agricola. And if you're adding in all these extra buildings,
then it's become too much.
Then you're just adding complications, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's our top 8 of our 2-player games. These are all from our collection. And we still play them. Like I said, the Morels, I'm glad that I pulled that out, because now I want to set this up and play it like as soon as we're done filming, because I haven't played that in forever. But what were your guys' favorite 2-player games? So we've got everything listed down here, so we'll read them off.
Alright, Stacy Winters says Mage Wars, X-Wing Miniatures, Puzzle Strike, Mage Knight board game, Star Realms, Duel of Ages 2, Star Wars LCG.
Living card game.
Okay. Marvel Dice Masters and...
Yep.
Oh, what is this one?
I have no idea. Sator Opera Tint Repo Rotas.
Okay.
Did I just say some sort of spell? Was that like... Did I just open up the gates to hell or something?
Oh no, you guys! Don't do that to us. You can't be putting spells on the stuff we're reading.
Yeah, come on, man.
But thanks, Stacy Winters always has plenty to say on the show. That's nice.
Papyrus says, last night on Earth invasion from another planet, killer bunnies, and the conquest of the magic carrot. Arcana, Mage Wars, La Fantôme de la Opera. Which I want to play that one. That was the Phantom of the Opera.
I wanted to try to play that.
Uh-huh.
Alright.
You guys are all messing with me with this X-Wing stuff. Stop it.
Eric Booth says...
You drove it out of the house!
Star Wars X-Wing. Are you gonna try to get him to say that on every episode?
I think they are.
Marvel Dice Masters and Mage Knight, though Mage Knight might still be better solo.
Yeah, I think 2 players probably even pushing it with the Mage Knight, but yeah. Discriminating Gamer said Memoir 44, Twilight Struggle 1989, Star Trek Fleet Captains, Tide of Iron, Leviathan, Star Realms, X-Wing. Just whatever. They're doing it. That's 3 of them that have said X-Wing so far.
Stormageddon
42
says Sumner Wars, Battlelore, Star Realms. We're not gonna mention that one.
It's X-Wing miniatures again. You drove it out of this house.
And Android Netrunner. And for games that aren't just for 2, but play well at 2, Lords of Waterdeep. See, I disagree with that. I don't like.
I love Lords of Waterdeep with just the 2 of us.
I like more players.
We had a lot of fun the other night.
Eminent Domain and Suburbia, which brings us to a nice symmetrical 8. Oh!
Stormageddon, you're the best!
8.
Drew says Star Realms, Castles of Burgundy, scales down to 2 perfectly, which I do agree with that. Stronghold, Summoner Wars, and Android Netrunner.
Okay, and Winter Guy 911 says Lords of Waterdeep, Eldritch Horror, and Talisman.
Kimberly Cola says, what's that first one right there?
X-Wing.
It's X-Wing again! Summoner Wars, Gosu Tactics, Asante.
Okay, Faceless Youth says Noir, Agricola, All Creatures Big and Small, Arctic Scavengers, Pixel Tactics, and Sumner Wars, which is my overall favorite game.
Mark Tippett says, Advanced Squad Leader, Battletech, Wings of Glory 2, World War II, or World War I, I'm sorry, Summoner Wars, Android Netrunner, Star Realms, Heroes of Normandy, Mage Wars, and X-Wings Miniatures.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! And Mark, you listed off 9.
Yeah, why did
What's
you
up, man?
mess up the symmetry?
Scratch off one of those, dude. Alright, so what's next week's topic? We're going to get a bit controversial.
We're going to talk about the portrayal of women in board games.
Alright, so obviously Carmen's probably going to have a lot more to say on this than what I do because I lack the vagina. And it's understandable, right?
And I will refrain from saying anything right now as to, I mean, there's some games that don't even have women characters, so,
yeah. And that's the thing about it. As a guy, it's really kind of hard a lot of times for us to understand when we're playing games because a lot of times it's just the norm, you know what I'm saying? But yet, how does this make the women gamers feel, or how do they view it, perceive it? So, it's just a topic we're going to talk on. It doesn't need to necessarily be a heated discussion. More so of just kind of just bringing light to a matter that I think, kind of gets overlooked a lot of times. There was a game that's come out recently that Atrippa Games Lap Dance. I think everybody's seen it, probably at the top of Board Game Geek. And that kind of got us sparked on the conversation of it.
The topic in our mind about women in board games.
So, anyways, what do you guys feel in your view of the portrayal of women in board gaming? A lot of times when we see fantasy games, we see women, guys are head-to-toe armor, and the women are running around in bikini-clad armor.
Apparently, women don't need armor.
Yeah. So, anyways, leave your comments below. We'll be sure to read off your guys' thoughts of the portrayal of women in board gaming, and we're going to give you our view as well next week. So, ready?
It's time for Random Rambling.
Hopefully my rib feels better next week, because I'm really interested in this topic. You want to go first or second?
Well, you're already pulling one out.
I know, I'm just...
I'll answer it.
Alright, you ready?
I guess. Got me worried.
The first game that comes to your mind when I say the following. Love.
Love letter, duh.
You know, that was funny. I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
That was easy, right?
Yeah, that was easy.
So that it? You don't want to take a second?
Well, I'm thinking.
Love, love, love. As in, I love this game more than any other game on the planet. Doesn't always have to have love in the title.
The second game that came to my mind was Village.
Yeah, that's funny you said that because Village was like
I
the
love
first one.
Village.
I do. I love Village.
I'm in love. That's from an anime.
Yeah.
But Love Letter was the first one that came to mind because we got little hearts for the princess's affection tokens. So, and we do like that game a lot.
Yeah,
And the kids like it too, so that's good. All right, yours is: do you trash talk? And do you only dish it out, or can you take it? I think he put this in here thinking I was going to get it.
You think so? Yeah, I sure do, man. I sure do. I really tone myself down when we do our live plays because I get really bored a lot of times when I'm playing games, especially if we're playing with too many people. And I don't know, it just comes flying out sometimes. I don't necessarily mean it to be like... you know, I don't say things to hurt anybody's feelings or anything like that. No, not at all. But, like, if I'm winning or something like that, oh, yeah, I'll be like, hey, this ain't golf, you know, and stuff like that. But, yeah, I mean, I think trash talking's fun. I really do. I never go overboard with it, so I think that there's always a limit. You know, don't be that guy, you know what I'm saying? But I think, you know, especially when you're just there amongst some friends and you're just chit-chatting. Listen, there's one thing you need to know about our game group. I get picked on an awful, awful lot, okay? I do, don't I? I do! And she's just as bad! She just goes right along with it.
Yeah, we'll all gang up on him and...
She'll do it too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when we were playing Imperial Settlers, and we was playing a 3-player game of Imperial Settlers, and my buddy was learning for the first time, and he's playing Egypt, and just starting to just figure it out, and he's clicking, and he starts creating this engine.
Well,
she has swords, 3 swords to raise. Who does she go after? Me. Why? I just don't understand it.
Generally, I see him as a bigger threat. That's why.
It's because I got the bigger mouth, I think, unfortunately. But yeah, I like receiving it just as much. So to me, it doesn't bother me in the slightest. Yeah, I can take it. But I can dish it, I can take it. But there's always a time for and a place. So you got to make sure that you're not just... You know, like I said, don't be that guy and just ruin the experience for other gamers. But if you're amongst friends and they know who you are, yeah, shoot, man, why not? It's a lot of fun, so.
I don't dish it out or take it, so.
No, she's too sensitive. Okay, so don't forget, next week's topic will be the portrayal of women in board gamings. That wraps up this episode. Anything you want to finish up with?
Nope.
Nope, all right.
We're good.
As usual, guys, we appreciate you watching.
Bye-bye.
Griffin Gaming, from new releases to pre-orders. Griffin Gaming. Enter in promo code GreyElephant for 5% off your order.